Oi, Huey, we have another chance to take a crack at Homelander. Sorry, I was watching a lot of The Boys recently. Anyway, we're back on episode 2 of this 3, maybe 4-part series at this point for this Tecsonic Super Jumbo J1. It's not going well. But we'll get there. A couple things have changed since the last video. She's been cleaned out, and I've put speakers back in. So let's go ahead and get cracking on some sliders on the volume board on the 10 band, which is missing here, and we'll see how much we can get done. There's still so much to be done. Tecsonic Super Jumbo J1, the most nightmarish piece of fucking shit I have built so far. Anyway, let's get cracking. Uh-oh. Okay, so I was wrong. A couple of things did change. This is the board we're looking at here. This is with our 10-band sliders. I did forget to mention that I did replace this potentiometer here, this little rotary potentiometer. Let's see if I can hold it up to the camera a little bit. But this rotary potentiometer here was just kind of a normal old one. It wasn't anything crazy. It did have like an off switch to it, so it'd click off, but you know, when the value is 0, it's 0, so it's going to be off regardless when it's all the way down, so that's not a huge deal. I did find one that's a B20K that is a replacement. I did have to get creative with the mounting on it, so, but nothing crazy there, just typical soldering and whatnot. And actually, I did desolder off camera all of these, and then what I ended up doing, which I'm going to see if I can get it in detail on camera here, is all of those sliders ran out of their carbon pathways here. And I'm going to go ahead and say the deoxit could have done it, or really, honestly, I think it was just weak carbon, because these two tracks did fine, but the center tracks, the carbon wore off from cleaning, actually, so, and that should have never really happened, even with Fader F5 and all that. I did use some deoxit D5 on some of them, and to be honest with you, I've used them on a lot of other boomboxes, potentiometers, including rotary potentiometers and sliders, and I've never had that issue, so this is the first time I've ran into that. And there was no direct replacement for these, so we're going to see if the carbon paint that I used, essentially it's a graphite paint, it's conductive paint. We're going to see if that conductive paint works. It was really hard to get a even surface, but I do believe that the fingers on the slider should cut through that graphite pretty easily, because graphite's pretty soft. But the graphite is on there really well, and it will not come off, and it took a lot of time basically utilizing like a dental pick tool to make sure that all of the channels didn't touch each other through the conductive materials. So we do need to take off the echo volume right here, because that one was the broken one when we went to go open the box. We have the slider head right here, which you can see the fingers in right there. So that's the slider head. I don't know, the fingers look like they're bent in the correct place, but you never know. We'll check that when we take it off. The only problem is the bottom half of this is completely shattered off. So I don't know what we're gonna do to repair this, because basically these fingers press against the slide in a way that kind of makes them almost springy, and so they're pushing away from the slide constantly to like get even pressure against the carbon tracks. And essentially you'd hook this piece of plastic from the other side in right there, and then the bottom piece would keep it taut and like keep that pressure on the other side. So we got to figure out something that can go on the bottom here that will hopefully keep the pressure. I mean, we really could just glue like a small piece of plastic here once it's on and in place, but I don't know that, I mean, we have the clearance, but I don't know that I want to do that. I don't know, we'll figure that out when we get it off. This one needs to go back on first. This one actually went right here. They are 6-pin B100Ks, as it says on the back here. They're B100Ks, and yeah, I desoldered all of these and put them back on. The only ones I didn't do were the volume and the balance, but that was because I had actual access to them. As you can see, the rest of them were in tight quarters, so I had to get them off the board to work on them. So we'll go ahead and just pop these pins back in these holes here, and then we'll solder our joints on, and then we'll take off that echo volume. And you can see these pins right here. That's the same for all of them. So there's 3 down here, there's 2 up here. You can see where I did all the rest of them. So these 3, these 2, these two, those three, the same, so on and so forth. So we just have these three right here and these two right here. I am gonna get my headlamp so that way I can see a little bit better. And I did finally get a fume hood thingy just to make sure that I don't die of lung cancer from flux paste, because I know that's not super great to breathe in. Luckily, most of what all of what I use personally doesn't have lead in it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and flux it up, boy. I'm gonna flux it up, and then we're gonna kick on this vent hood thingy. And it's gonna be a little bit loud, but hopefully you can still hear me talk over it. So, because I tested it out earlier, and it is quite loud, even though they said it was quiet. Typical, right? You know, it's gonna be a very quiet fan. Yeah, okay. But it's got a lot of layers of filtering, so it should work out pretty good for me, considering I have been breathing this stuff in for a while now. Okay, let's see how this thingy maneuver does. Yeah, I think that's in place. Okay, while we're back here, we may as well take off the EQ volume here. May as well do that real quick since we're already doing the thing. So that way we can see what's up. And I do need this little guy here, a little solder sucker. Not super ideal. I do wish I had a solder wick, but I don't. So, solder sucker it is. Let me see if that did it. That should have done it. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, we can turn this off for now. Okay, so this thing needs to go, essentially this needs to go like this, laying right over top of that, and I need to see if those fingers are lining up with where they're supposed to be going. It seems like it. Probably just push those two little dudes over just a little bit more here. These little guys right here. This thing was actually found at the bottom of the boombox, so wouldn't be shocked that it has a little bit of damage. Okay, so those fingers are lining up here, and then the thing that we need to do is probably get this thing in place and glue the top end of that. There's a special type of glue that I use for these kinds of things. This stuff right here. This is JB Super Weld, and it actually uses a UV light to cure, and it is a really, really strong hold for super glue. There's very few super glues that I have seen that have this strong of a hold. So we're gonna go ahead and give it just a light bead at the top here. Okay, light bead right there, and you might see a puff of smoke. This stuff does smoke when it cures. That's all it takes. Should be cured now. That piece should really not move at all. Okay, we'll just put this thing in here and trust that she'll stay together for however long she stays together for. Let's solder this baddie back in here. My apologies again about the noise. Right. That should do it. The slider is in place. Let's just clean up the back a little bit here with some ISO. I didn't do these solder jobbies, but I'll clean them. They're pretty grody. Put all my soldering stuff back where my soldering stuff goes. Reorganize myself here so that way everything's in place. And then we'll get the brains of the box here, I guess you want to call it. The brains. These are the brains of the box. Welcome back, brains. So that board sits in right here. So this guy goes right here, like so. Oh, by the way, after doing some research, because I need to replace this particular third speaker in the three-way speaker. I still don't like to call them that, especially after I figured out what they're called. They're called like a piezo or piezo wafer or piezo buzzer. And they're really just meant for super ultra high frequencies, which is exactly what I thought they were meant for. And I still think it's ridiculous that the cop-out for a lot of these older boomboxes for three-way speakers is a piezo buzzer. They're like, oh, we got a three-way speaker system. No, you do not. No, you don't. You have a piezo buzzer, which doesn't do jack shit, really. In reality, it does literally nothing. And I mean, it does do something. I guess I'm full of shit, but what I'm saying is it doesn't do very much compared to, like, you know, an actual fucking speaker. So those companies that love to sell you on three-way bullshit, it's not a three-way speaker system, in my humblest of opinions. Okay, so then this guy goes right here. Okay, so in theory, all these sliders should work. They actually move a lot better now, oddly enough, with paint on them. That's a positive, I suppose. Yeah, so I thought originally that this would be a 3-part series. It might end up being a 4, just because there is still a lot of work to be done. There's a lot I'm gonna do off camera. There's some vinyling and stuff that I've been doing. As a matter of fact, I've already started that off camera. Like this guy right here. See, the chrome goes bad, and there's not really a good way to do paint chrome on your own. So what I do is I do vinyl. And the vinyl looks really good on this piece. I've been having problems with other pieces because there's just a lot of detail in them. This one was extremely hard to do. And you can see that it's even still coming up, and I don't know why it's coming up in that one particular spot, but that is going to drive me nuts. So I need to figure that out. Anyway, this one was hard to do because cutting this ring out in the middle here was just not, that was not it, fam. So, but it did turn out really nice. The only thing I didn't do is chrome the center ring, and you can actually see where some of that chrome is still damaged because that is the original chrome right there. So, that center ring would just not make any sense in vinyl. It would be insanely hard to do. So I have this thing all plugged back in. This is the visual board. What we do need is the main box, preferably standing up, and we need both speakers hooked up. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a weird speaker sandwich here, or a weird boombox sandwich here, where both halves are gonna be on either side. So we need this thing to prop up here. Okay, so we'll hook in the left here. I said we'll hook in, what I said was we'll hook in the left here. Okay. Then we'll hook in the right. Aside from plugging in the power, we can lay down the board. So we'll lay down the board, and then we'll get the power thingy. And then we just got to figure out which button does what, because I don't remember. So, and as a matter of fact, what I'll probably do is I'll probably plug in the VU chip just to see if that got any better, because that thing was not doing well. I'll lay this down. Let me get the VU chip. All right, now I need the back of the box. Everything about this is sketchy right now. Okay, I think I need to just get the plug, and we'll plug her in, and we'll cross our fingers and cry ourselves to sleep, or whatever I have to do to make myself feel comfortable about this. Okay, we're in, plugged. Okay, we got both sides of the VU meter peeking up there. That's interesting. Could be a step in the right direction. Oh, it is. Let's see what we have on music here. All right, that VU meter is working correctly again. Genuinely shocked that that works. Genuinely shocked. Holy shit. The graphite paint worked. That's insane. Everything's working right now. No need to be afraid. Oh yeah. I can't believe it worked. It makes me want to shit myself into oblivion. That's fucking insane, baby. I am the shit at restoring fucking boomboxes. I tell you what, even if it was a shot in the fucking dark, that's insane. The paint worked. All right, I will make sure you guys know which paint it was, because if you can restore sliders that way, that's fantastic. I think the mic circuit is working just fine too. Let me see here. Mix volume, echo volume. Yeah, I don't have a mic with a 3mm inlet, but it's not making any weird noises. So anyway, so let me take this thing down and put it all to the side for now. Okay, so this board does need to come back off because I am going to take that volume pot off and work on that thing a little bit because it is still pretty dang crackly. And I don't really know why. I mean, it was honestly one of the best looking ones even after doing all the modification stuff. Yeah, I don't really know what's going on here. We can take this apart since this one's got a working doohickey and then see what the fingers look like. I didn't like that at all. Okay, well, I mean, it made it through. It's fine, but I didn't like it shooting off like that. Okay, let's take a look at our fingers here. Vaguely corroded. I can already see what part of our issue is. Yeah, I'm actually surprised that that worked as well as it did, considering two of them are fused together. I don't know if you guys will be able to see that. It's pretty tiny. Bam! That's what she said, motherfucker. Okay. Sorry, enough of that. Can't tell if there's oxidation or if, like, maybe I slid it across the graphite paint when the graphite paint was still wet. I can't really tell. I mean, either way, that shouldn't really make a difference where it's sitting, but I mean, really, they weren't that bad. They were just enough. You can see right there some of the old carbon or some of the new graphite. Who knows which, but either way, there's some schmutz on there, and getting it off probably will help a little bit. So we're taking this board back off just so that way I can do the main volume. Where did my screwdriver go? Why do I always lose tools? I don't understand. I didn't move from this spot, right? I think. Oh, never mind. It was in the place where I was looking. Okay, so we'll take this guy back off here. Okay, so I gotta desolder. We gotta get everything back off the table here. It's these ones right here and this one right here. That's a fat ass solder. I don't know why. Who did that? Somebody who's not very good with their job, I guess. Let's get some of that fat ass solder off here. Well, that was a pain. Well, we got that off. Yeah, so here's our volume pot, and you can actually see, yeah, there's a lot of contact marks where it's coming through that. Okay. Yeah, we definitely need to, like, redo this one. Let's see here. If I remember correctly, I just kind of scraped away at some of that. Just do some cleaning to make sure everything's nice and purty in there. Nice and ready to be painted for another day. But for tonight, I'm gonna call it, and then I'll be back tomorrow to finish some other stuff. We won't be touching this thing tomorrow. We know that the volume board now works, so that's pretty sweet. Again, had major concerns with that, considering this is literally the thing I did for all of them. Not a bad thing to really clean the crap out of them, though, because I tell you what, I didn't really hear any grittiness in most of them. There's a couple of them, which could make sense if I like missed a little bit of metal or something like that when I was painting them. But for the most part, they were clean sounding, man. So that's again, I'm just stoked. I can't believe that actually worked. So now we just got to get the tape player working, finish cleaning her up, finish vinyling her, which that I will show a little bit on camera so that way you guys can understand how to do that if that's the route you want to take on restoring your own boombox. I know a lot of people go, well, no, it's not original. Well, listen, man, the original looks like shit at the moment. So personally, I think it's better when the chrome still looks like fucking chrome. And if you want to fight me in the comments, you're more than welcome to. The nice part about vinyl is, though, too, you know, just to, I guess, backpedal a little bit. The nice part about vinyl is that you can peel it off and then have your original shitty chrome back if you want. Because, let's be clear, it is shitty. On these, usually breaks off after a certain time. Especially on, again, cheaper production units. There are plenty of units that are great, but cheaper production units, the chrome typically just flakes off over time. So, alright, I'll be back tomorrow to do more stuff. We're going to work on some tape units. We're going to work on a little bit of cleaning. See you all tomorrow. Alright, back for another night of fun. So, today we're going to focus on cleaning the main board section of the boombox. We're going to go ahead and get the tape mechanisms cleaned up. And we will also rebelt them, or get new belts on them, whatever, you know what I mean. So we're going to clean these fucking boys up. A little bit of deoxit up in here should work good. We'll find where the record switch is, and then we'll clean that too. We're going to use these pointy boy Q-tips. Yeah, so let's get to cleaning the tape decks from this side first, then we'll move on to the other side where the motor and belts are. So we'll clean off the heads here and get those nice and freshened up. And we'll put some deoxit in there, some D5. That will lubricate it a little bit. Really focus on getting these tape heads nice and clean. That's usually where the problems end up coming from. And the wheels. Basically, try and minimize the possibility of the tape being eaten. There was paint there too. Oh my gosh, there's paint here too. Dude, come on, bro. How did you drip paint into your entire boombox? What are we doing here? Whoever you are that owned this thing, I don't understand how you did all this. It's like, that's straight insanity to me, man. Now some of these boards are a straight up mess, so we'll clean up those a little bit too. Where's my deoxit? There's my deoxit D5. What I did was I coated my Q-tip in deoxit D5, and I'm going to go ahead and clean this thing out here. We just gently shove it in there and roll it out for a little bit, and then we'll see what she comes back with. Probably pretty dirty in there. Yeah, should do it pretty good. Got some deoxit in there. What we'll do is we'll yep, just like that. Yep, that's getting it. Literally how you clean these things, guys. Seems like not a lot of fun, and that's because it's not. These feel pretty loosely connected to the board. As a matter of fact, they are really loosely connected to the board. Let's go ahead and take care of that real quick. Just get the solder gun over here and should just be able to touch up the anchor points. Shouldn't take but no more than 2 seconds, buddy. Also, good time to mention, deoxit's flammable, so I'm going to go ahead and make sure that there isn't that much left on here. Yep, one of the solder pads is indeed broken. We need some flux. You can kind of see it. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's right here. There's like a crack in the solder base right there. I don't even think it's a crack. I think it just wasn't soldered all the way. So it's right here. That foot for the anchor is gone. So I would normally turn on the ventilation, but there's going to be all of a 2-second fix here, so I'm not going to do that right now. The this should go pretty simply. There we go. That pad's fixed. That's all it takes. So we'll put this board back down, and then we'll get started on the tape decks. Oh yeah, that's much better. She was loose before, but not anymore. Nice. We'll just pull it off from the front. We'll do one tape mechanism first, then the other one. Oh, this motor's coming out. Oh, there was that small screw that I didn't know where it went to, but now I do. Now I know exactly where it went to. It went to the motor. Oh, did I save that? I don't think I saved that. I think I threw it away. I wasn't expecting this. Okay. Well, that's not good. Okay. Well, we're gonna have to figure out a screw for that. Tiny screw into the pile. This should just slide off. Like so. Like so, I said. Damn you. There we go. Okay, so yeah, there's a missing screw right here. I don't know what size that would be. Let's see if this belt is worn. It's actually not too bad. Wow, that's shocking. But since we're in here, may as well replace it anyway. This one will replace as well. So we got two different size belts right there. And a screw that existed once upon a time that is now non-existent. So let me look in my parts bins and see if I might have something. I don't know. That's a really weird screw. Usually I save screws too. I don't know why I didn't save that one odd screw that I found. I feel like I would have. But now I don't know where I would have put that. You know what? Maybe I put it in the bin. It's a pretty solid chance I did do that. Oh my goodness, I did. I amaze myself sometimes. I put the screw in the bin. So that is awesome. I'm glad I saved this. I cannot believe I saved this. What a saving grace that is. Holy crap. Okay, out of all the parts I could have saved. Okay. We found the motor belt. Now we just need to find the other belt that was in there. Okay, 2 belts each. First belt going on where it's supposed to go. Seems pretty loose. I want to go down one more size. I don't know what one more size is, but I would like to go down there. Let's see how this one does. Alright, that seems well taught. How is that? What is that movement? That should be good, honestly. That should be great. Yeah, that should be good. Okay. Nice top belt there. And now we just have the motor to replace. That belt goes up here. And on there. Not twisted. I don't want it to be twisted. You know what? Maybe it's easier to do it this way. It probably is. It is. Okay, so we have new belts on there. It means we can button this one up. And then we'll move to the other one where I would almost guarantee the record bar is going to be somewhere nearby, back behind that. Okay, that is one tape deck down. This thing seems to be where it's supposed to be. Yep. seen worse belts on boxes before. These were not that bad. Actually, I've seen worse belts on boxes and then still played tapes better than this one, which is a little bit alarming. It means we could have an issue with our tape, our magnetic heads, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Let's see here. Oh no, this one's bound up. Why are we bound up? What is stopping us from... Oh, the wires. The motor wires back here are stopping us. Guess we could probably unscrew that motor from here. Yeah, we can. I think they did that on purpose. That's not good. That's not a good thing to lose. Oh well. I'll find it. Okay. Okay. None of that was nice. I didn't like any part of that. Let me see if I can't find that screw here. There it is. Found her. And none of this one, whatever this. Oh, that's how the record bar works. Okay. So it connects directly to instead of using a cable because it just pushes up on it. Alright, understood. Understood. So that's cool. That'll be somewhat easy. Yeah, they have this like shielding around this motor. I feel like that probably makes sense. I don't know. I didn't design it. Get that screw over here. Okay, take this belt off. I said take this belt off. I don't know why you're not belting the takeoff. There we go. Where's the... Can I move this thing? I would guess, right? Yep. Okay, so we put some deoxit up in there. There we go. And then we just move that thing back and forth a few times. The record bar has been deoxitized, whatever, deoxidated. That is not right. Okay. That belt is seated. I can tell this one's going to be difficult because of the way that it is. Oh, that's loose. Those screws are starting to come loose on here. Let's go ahead and make sure that those are tightened down. Unlike the other one that fell out entirely. Okay. This motor still spins nice and freely, so that's good. And she probably isn't burnt out. Alright, now what we can do, I believe, is flip this over and screw in that last screw for the motor. Okay, this belt is a pain in the ass to... Okay, let me get that one screw back in the rear here. I suppose I could just move this board out of the way real quick. Seems easier than doing it the other way. There we go. Alright, so we have our belts replaced. Perfect. All right, let's move that tape. Let's just see that the record button works well enough here. Cool. We're going to take a little bit of D5 and then clean off the tape head here. I should just start wearing gloves when I'm doing this. There we go. Now we're going to spritz some stuff into each one of these bad boys. Okay. Alright, that should do it. Just kind of looking back here in a general sense. We're going to go ahead and clean off that radio wheel, and then we're going to go ahead and clean off the FM face of the board here. What I'll probably do as well, so I'll probably pull the handle and clean that up. Okay, we got the handle off. We're going to clean this section up right here. We're going to clean up this wheel right here. Not really sure how I want to attack that because it's pretty bad. I guess what I could do is spritz this down, right? Spritz this with some rubbing alcohol and then spin it from the inside and get that initial like layer of grime off. That's working okay-ish. I would take this piece off, but it's like dang near impossible to take this piece off. So, I mean, it's not impossible. Nothing's impossible with these things, but it'd be really, really difficult, and I just don't feel like it. I did have this idea originally that I was going to try to do. I don't know if I'm still going to try and do it, but I was going to. What I was going to possibly do was install some purple LEDs like right here and have this whole thing glow inside the box. I think that would be really cool. But I haven't really decided if I want to put in that kind of effort or not. It feels like a lot. It feels like a lot, so. I lied, that actually looks significantly better. Cool. Let's spray this part, get that nice and clean. Let me get my canned air here or whatever, because I got a lot of spray away inside of the thing. Did not expect spray away to stay in there like that. That is annoying. Well, hopefully gravity will do its thing and leach most of that out. Alright, wipe down the table here. Okay, I'm gonna go soak this handle real quick. She's really grody, and you can probably see up in there, that's disgusting. Be right back. Okay, so we're back. We have the slider here. Yesterday I got the old paint off of it. This is the paint we're using. Graphite conductive paint designed for copper plating. So this is some sort of brass or copper, so that works really well for that. I mean, obviously it's designed for copper plating in the way that you want to plate something copper. But what we're going to do is, I did a little bit of scratching of the surface yesterday. We're going to do a little bit of sanding on it just to prep the surface for the paint. And then we'll clean it with some rubbing alcohol and get the excess off and then paint it. And this paint dries super fast, so we should be able to pretty much get everything done on this thing. I'm gonna mix up some of this fresh paint here. Oh, it sealed itself to the thingy. I'm not really shocked about that. Seems like it dried up a little. That's okay. We will scoop the nastiness off the top rim here and get rid of it. We just need to mix her around pretty good, just like that. And then what we'll do is we'll dip this guy in there very lightly. Well, that's not as lightly as I was hoping for, but very lightly is what I said. So let's just go ahead and try and knock some of that off of there without picking up some grodier stuff. And then we're gonna basically just hit those two middle bands as much without crossing to the other bands as possible. I'm gonna actually bring it a little bit closer to me so I can see it. Like I said, this stuff dries super fast, so we gotta be really quick and proactive about how it's applied. That's too much, that's way too much. Okay. Be really proactive about how it's applied here. Alright, it's already starting to dry, so we're just going to go ahead and have to deal with where we're at right now. Could be worse, could be worse. Let's take a look, see here. Yeah, see how that thick line there? That's an unfortunately thick line. We're going to have to carve out a lot. So we need to let that dry. While that's drying, I think I will go get the handle, so that way we can clean that the rest of the way, and then reattach that. So let me do that. I'll be right back. Okay, so I have the handle here and the handle holders. They need a little bit of wiping out. And I think we need to detach the handle from the plastic, because if I remember correctly, the plastic on these is indeed hollow. So there's going to be water and all sorts of stuff in there. So because I just soaked it for a little bit. Best way to really clean all these things is get all that dirt and grime loosened up with some soap and water, honestly. It's not really a better way of doing it. So if you can, that's the best way to do it. So yeah, you can see actually it's leaking water on the table, and that's because the handle is hollow. That is okay. We'll take a Phillips head screwdriver and detach the handle real quick. There we go. Oh yeah, there's water in there. Perfect. Glad we're taking this off then. I really want to know how they chrome plate things that are plastic, because you would think that these handles are metal, but they're not. They're plastic. I mean, not this part, but like these. You'd think that that's metal. It's not. It's plastic. Chrome plated and such. Dude, whoever this guy was who had this thing got so much white paint all over it. Let's see if we can't sand this handle down just a smidge and polish it back up just a little bit. Mainly because there's a lot of scratches and a bunch of other stuff all over this handle. I'm not saying that I would normally do this, because I don't like doing this, because I know where this leads, which is a lot of scratches and stuff. But to be fair, this thing was already scratched and had a lot of oxidation on it anyway, so it's not like the biggest deal to me right now. Okay, that's okay right there. Let's clean it off a little bit and see what we have. Get that excess plastic off of there. Bet you it looks pretty decent. A little bit scratchy, I'm sure, but I still think with all that buffing and all those like little tiny micro scratches from the 3000 grit, I still think it looks better than it did. Okay, where's my pick tool? That's also going to help us here because all these lines on here have a lot of gunk in them. Actually, it looks like it's just one side that has a lot of gunk in it. Cool. And now what we can do with this plastic piece, this handle, is we can give it a little bit of a shine. Once again, using our Meguiar's Insane Shine Ultimate Plastic Doohickey shit. I'll spray it on top of this. Unfortunately, this stuff really does not spray like evenly and super chill. It sprays like it wants to go everywhere. So that's always fun. And there you go. There's our cleaned, polished handle. Now we just got to finish the metal pieces and then put it back together. So, well, quote-unquote metal pieces. Again, not metal, but fake metal. And for that, let me see, maybe some spray away and just some sturdy rubbing will do it, because I feel like the Quad Zero steel wool has really been taking its revenge out on these chrome pieces, and I don't like it. Yeah, that seems pretty good. Now what we need to do is get some of this Meguiar's, I guess not really off the table, but spread it around, you know? And then B, let me see if I can get my little air dude to do one last task for me here. Nah, she's dead. I mean, it looks pretty dry, so we'll go ahead and just put it back on. Perfection. What a good looking handle. Yeah, those are pretty in there. And as far as these go, I gotta remember how they went. I guess that this probably went over here like this. Right? I don't know. Let's bring the thing back up here so I can see what the back of that looked like. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so vice versa here. Okay, so we have the handle back on here. She looks nice and pretty now. I'll show you how to do cleaning some RCA jacks, something that I learned from a guy. So we'll show you how to do that real quick, just because I think it's probably fairly important for most people to learn. I'm gonna spritz some deoxit into a rag here. D5 is what we're going with, the flavor of the day. Then we're gonna go ahead and kind of wipe these guys down, at least initially. And then what we're gonna do is mildly invasive on these guys. I'll spray a little bit of deoxit on a Q-tip to get in between, considering the thing that we are cleaning off is literally oxidation and dirt. There we go. Okay. So minimally invasive, but also works super well this is what we do. We take this RCA, since I don't need it anymore. I have quite a few of these. We're going to snip off the ends here. And we're going to use those ends. We're going to borrow these ends to do a thing. So we're going to spritz a little bit of deoxit inside of each of these contacts here. Okay. What you're going to do, you're going to plug this guy in, and you're literally going to spin it. And do you see what that does there? Carved it in there. Why? Because it is so oxidized. There you go. And what that does is it gets a little bit of metal and metal in there to try and clean up the oxidation as best as possible. There, now we should have some clean contacts on the inside and on the outside. So those should work splendid. Okay, so next time, I was thinking we'd have the box back together. I don't know if that's true. We may end up dragging this off into a 4th episode. This has been a lot of work on this thing. So, lots to do, lots to see. And I will see you guys in the next episode of What the F***, What the F***, Why did I choose to do this, What the actual F***. Nah. I'll see you guys on the next episode of restoration of a J1 Super Jumbo piece of shit. Deuces.